Welcome to the NotSoSocial podcast. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Skylar Trinity, and this is where we talk about our everyday lives and relationship with God in the realist way.
Okay, so first off, we want to say thank you guys so much for all the comments and the encouragement and the motivations to keep going. We love y'all. I appreciate it. And we also special thanks to the people who are being vulnerable in our DMs, even explaining their situations and what they're going through. It means a lot to us, y'all. I almost cried, just reading everything. And to me, to know that video hit y'all so much and what y'all going through right now, it just means a lot. Yeah. So I just want to thank y'all for that. Y'all can hit us up anytime. We'll answer. It might take a minute, but we'll definitely answer.
Yeah, it seemed like perfect timing when we released the video based on what y'all said, in our DMs, like you said. And I just want to say I salute y'all for being vulnerable with us and just opening up to us, because that's even hard for me. That's something that I deal with. That's something I struggle with. So that's a big step into trusting us with y'all's problems and where you're at in life and stuff like that. I feel like that's so important because we have the platform, not only on this audience, but we have the platform to influence people's lives. And I feel like we actually doing it now in the right way with God and stuff like that. So
yeah, special thanks to you guys. And if I said I'm praying for you guys, I'm really praying for you. Just know when y'all telling us stuff, it's going to the right place. This is not just no tea or gossip. We praying with y'all and praying through y'all situation. So yeah, we're gonna get right into this topic.
It has to do with vulnerability. That's why we opened it like that. That's why we, shouts to y'all. Y'all inspired this next episode.
Yeah. So basically, I was sitting in the car with my sister, and I didn't even want to do the episode at first. So I was going back and forth. We were what's the title gonna be? She was oh, obviously our testimony, our rock bottom story. I instantly was no, we're not doing that.
That's
anything
too much
but that. We could do any title but that title, or even too much tea. No. So I was okay, we just not doing that. So you were okay with it, I think.
No, I was very okay with it.
Yeah, you were we don't have to. But I feel God really hit my heart. And, he's still working on me. And he was no, I just have to do it. And it's very hard for me to be vulnerable. It's very hard for me to open up about certain things, because I like to go through life by myself. So to even share those things, it was hard. But I feel I've grown a lot. Now I'm I don't want to say super vulnerable, but I've grown from being nonchalant to having emotions come back. And then I was thinking okay, Kaylee, why aren't you vulnerable? Or why are you so nonchalant? So I was all my thoughts come to me at night, guys.
No, me too.
So I pray to God. I'm God, why am I like this? And the reason is I wanted my life to look perfect. So the whole world, I wanted to display oh, I don't go through anything. I just live life. Nothing happens to me. I'm always good. Why would I want to share my rock bottom? Or why would I want to share me at my lowest? I don't want you to know that. Right. I barely wanted to go through it. So for me to just open up about certain things like that, I just didn't like it.
Yeah. And I'm low-key kind of the opposite, but kind of the same, because I'm okay with being open. I'm okay with telling y'all things, but I know how to make it sound good. Okay? And that has to do with vulnerability too, because why do I want to make it sound so good? It's kind of the same but different. I want my life to look perfect too.
This way,
right? Look a certain way, not perfect, but a certain way. So I'll tell you the truth, but I'm gonna hype it up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or I know how to speak to where it sounds good. But if you look back at what I said, it's she's actually doing nothing.
Or you're actually dodging the question. You just said it in a good way.
Exactly. I know how to dodge people. So we have the same problem, but kind of different about it. Because if you ask me, I would say I'm kind of an open person. And if you ask me any question, I will answer.
But just not the full truth.
Exactly.
Yeah. So basically, me not being vulnerable created me to lie. And it could just be even little lies. Like when people ask, all the time people ask you, oh, are you good? Is your family good? I could be going through it with my family. I could be going through it mentally. I'm like, oh no, I'm good. Like I'm okay. Like everything's going great. The family's great. And everything could be tearing apart in my life. So it just could be even those little things.
Yeah.
I didn't really want people to know that I went through anything. I just wanted them to know, like, I wanted this certain look about me that, oh no, Kaylee, like, she got this. She don't go through nothing. Like, I don't have family issues. I don't have money issues. I don't have any of that. So.
And whole time, what that is pride. And so we've actually talked to our mom about this. Like, and she gave us this verse. It's Proverbs 16:18-20. Pride goes before destruction, and haughty spirit before a fall. Better is it to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. He that handleth the matter wisely shall find good, and whose truth in the Lord happy is he. So they're saying happiness is coming from the truth. And basically that type of attitude is coming from pride. So let's say it in the Bible. They're giving y'all the keys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we know that that's something that's not right. And something we have to work on as Christians, you know, not to say to be perfect at it, but it's hindering a lot of things because when you're not being vulnerable, vulnerability is tied to your emotions. Like you don't want to be vulnerable because of some type of shame, embarrassment, whatever the case may be. But that's also hindering you being open about your joy or, you know, your strength or the good things too, because that's just what happens. Like vulnerability is vulnerability. It's not good or bad. It's tied to emotion, and that's any type of emotions.
And you'll never know who you would help just by opening up. Like I could just be talking to somebody and they could be vulnerable, and I used to be just put down, like just put in a box, and I wouldn't say anything. Like I'll just help them through their situations. But the whole time I could be helping them by being vulnerable with them.
Just by telling your story.
Exactly. And I feel like that's a thing we need to like work on. Like it's just little steps like that. Like I'm not even saying oversharing. Just if somebody's opening up to you, like just reciprocate that energy.
Yeah, because it's gonna help them. You don't even have to say a word. You don't have to say no scripture. You don't have to be so preachy or whatever. But your story is the substance of what matters, honestly.
And I think a lot of times people are not vulnerable. It's how we respond. So we also need to work on how do we respond to when somebody just opening up to us. Because say if we're condemning them or
oh my gosh,
just speaking bad about what they're saying, do you think they're going to want to open up again?
Right.
No.
I've seen this thing on TikTok. They were talking about the Lil Nas X situation and how all these Christians are condemning him. That's not going to help him come to Christ. Like watering that seed with condemnation is not going to make it grow. Watering that seed with love is what's gonna make it grow.
Exactly.
Basically. So,
and vulnerability as a Christian. So let's say if somebody does do that to you, and you know you're a Christian, you know we kind of know a little better. Don't let that affect you. Like if you did open up and you got shot down, as long you knew what you were supposed to do. Like you were supposed to be vulnerable in that moment. Now whatever the reaction was, that doesn't matter because you planted the seed, and that's all that matters. You can't just shut down.
Right. And that's happened in multiple areas too. When somebody do you wrong, you feel like you gotta do them wrong or back off. Like no, like or treat them different. But at the end of the day, we have to be who we are and who God created us to be, no matter what has happened to us. Right. Because that's being like Christ. You know, that's what we're supposed to be doing.
You can't be like, oh, I gotta move a certain way because this happened. Because now you're creating your personality off trauma,
right,
and not off the word. So.
And I also wanted to say, like when we were talking about how other people depend on our vulnerability too, I was listening to this sermon by Jerry Flowers, and he said the quality of your heart and the health of your soul affects too many people for you to ignore stuff like not being able to be vulnerable.
That's good.
Like, and that also goes with when you fast, you're fasting for other people. Like when you're working on yourself, it's helping the whole community. It's helping everybody. It's helping other Christians and maybe not even Christians. But when you're working on yourself, it's for other people. So
no, that's really good. No, that's really, really good. And you know, another thing is too, like how you don't want to be vulnerable is because you don't want people to feel sorry for you. Like I know for me, it was like, why am I like? Because I remember explaining to my one friend, like, I just had a lot in me at one point, and I didn't tell anybody anything. So, you know, I just told her everything from birth to now. She just started crying. It was like, dang, like, I never knew any of this. Like, because you just go around, like, happy and jolly or whatever. And it's like, just don't feel like don't treat them any differently because of that, or like they're the eyeball out or anything like that. Yeah, the help.
Yeah.
So I would say just navigating when somebody's being vulnerable to you, like laughing it off. But even laughing it off too is a sign of not being vulnerable and hiding your emotions.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of time I have like dark humor as well. But it's a truth in the dark humor.
Yeah.
But
learning how to deal with your emotions is like,
yeah, because I laugh in serious situations.
Me too.
And that's not okay. That is not somebody could be crying, and it's not that I don't feel sorry for you. Like, I feel sorry, but I'm so awkward, or I'm not like in tune with my emotions to where I'm laughing.
Right, because not being vulnerable can hurt the good things, like I said too, like being able to show empathy.
Exactly.
Because you don't know, like you don't know how to do it. And I'm the same way. Like, there's been so many situations, y'all, where I've been laughing in the worst situations, and that's so not Christ-like.
No.
And you say like you don't know how to control it, but I would say just pray. You got to pray that away.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know what else other advice to give, but because that's just not okay. Like, I've realized it, like, because other people be like, why are you laughing? And I'm just like, I don't know, I can't help it.
It's really a demon. You want to talk about it because you can't stop it.
Right.
Like, you can't control it, and if you can't control your emotions, that's crazy. Yes.
So yeah, deliverance.
No. No, we definitely still have to work on that. And I would say, to continue, like, what helped me of being more vulnerable, everything you do out of love. Do not expect reciprocation. Don't expect anything out of it. Just know before you do something, it could be money, it could be your time, energy. Just know that you're like, come up with a decision like, okay, I'm doing this out of love, or I'm doing this because this is the way I am, and not expecting nothing. Because if you expect something, you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna be put back to that nonchalant box. You're gonna be put back to like, oh, I'm never doing this again, or you view people a certain way. So
I agree. Okay, I had a verse to go with the whole condemnation thing with sinners, or maybe even other Christians, when you see them doing something that may not be Christ-like, but they don't know. The verse I had was James 5:16. Therefore, confess your sins to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person has great power as it is working. So if you're not being able to be vulnerable enough to tell the truth, or to confess what you're doing wrong, or what you feel like you need work on, or whatever this stuff is, the Bible literally says you're not going to get healing.
Yeah, like, accountability,
taking that accountability, being able to be open with your neighbors and stuff like that. Like, I should be able to open up to my sister and tell her the things that, you know, I'm struggling with. Like, that's a form of vulnerability, because it says it in the Bible. Like, that causes healing. If you bottle it up and keep it inside, like we talked about that the last episode, if you're constantly bottling stuff up, like, that's going to get to you in other areas. That can cause anger. That can cause other types of emotions that you don't even want, you know?
Yeah. I think we should get into the family topic next. When it comes to how to be vulnerable in a family setting. So if you're anything like us, like, we weren't raised with emotions. We weren't the hugging family. We weren't any of that. Yeah, affectionate. So growing up as adults, you know, navigating things differently, and now that we're like, okay, we have to be vulnerable as a Christian, like it says it, just even speaking about things that bother you, like be open to say, oh no, like mom or dad or sister or whatever, like this bothers me, or I have a problem with this, instead of like just forgiving them and moving on. At least have that conversation, I feel like.
Yeah. That's something that we definitely struggle with, is having the actual conversation of what hurt us and stuff like that.
Instead of brushing it aside and be like, oh no, we're cool. But at the end of the day, you're still getting hurt. So at least trying to repair the situation, even if the other person doesn't listen, but you did your part. You did your due diligence.
And being self-aware, y'all. So many people are not self-aware about these things. Like, they don't even see it in themselves.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like that's so important, and to at least work on you, like she said, do your part. Do your part. If you do your part, that can inspire somebody to do their part. And now we all doing our part, and it's working out great.
And there's so many things I realized about myself that I needed to work on just by somebody else telling me. Like, oh no, okay, you have a little pride in you, or you have this, and obviously make sure you say it in love so they can receive it. But it just made me be like, okay, I need to work on this, I need to do better, because if somebody's telling me this and I respect them as a person, obviously I'm gonna do better. Like, obviously it's the truth, especially it's coming from my family. I need to work on it.
Yeah. Or I'm the type of person where I'll just keep everything to myself to keep the peace.
Yeah.
But that can also hinder me at the end of the day. Like, if you're that type of person where you be like, nah, because my favorite verse is, don't throw your pearls to swine.
Yeah. Okay. That's her favorite saying.
I'm going to say that. One thing about me, I'm going to say that verse. I can't say
that last episode too.
But one thing about it, that's my favorite verse.
Yeah.
And so, like, anytime somebody's doing something I don't like, or, you know, we butting heads, or it's like, it sounds so pointless to me. Like, you know, so I just be like, don't throw your pearls to swine. Let me just let it go. But that could just be like, oh, you just forgetting about it. And so it could come up again, and it caused the same issue. Now it's causing built up and bottled up, you know, stuff
now
inside
you're becoming
of me.
nonchalant.
Now I'm becoming nonchalant.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the complete opposite. I'm very confrontational, but I did not say it in love. Like, I'm more like, like, you're not doing this or this and that. But like, who's hearing that?
Nobody.
No one is hearing when you're yelling at them. No one is hearing like what they're just being told wrong. But when you come with love, and even if they still don't hear it, like I said, that's on them. But if you come with love, people want to, like, they'll receive it better. Yeah. So you're getting nothing out of yelling at somebody. You're getting nothing out condemning somebody. So yeah.
I don't know if you answered this with the whole family thing, but I have a question.
Okay.
So why are you not vulnerable? Like, what happened in your life that made you that way?
Well, I'm not vulnerable. But I feel like it could be like, okay, in what way? In the dating world, in the family world, because I feel
it's all different reasons.
Different reasons. No, because it's like, okay, this is why I'm not vulnerable with my family. Because it's like you're proving something, and then you move a certain way. Yeah. So it's like, it's just different. Like, I feel like me as a whole, like, why I'm not vulnerable. Let me think.
It could be a vague answer too. Like, oh, every time I tell somebody something, they use it as ammo against me. That could be a reason for somebody. Maybe you just not getting the response you want when you're vulnerable. Yeah. Somebody not coming back to you in a love language that you would like you said, speaking softly, or, oh, I just needed a hug, or I didn't even want no, words of affirmation.
I think it all started. No, I really think it started when I was like younger, like kindergarten, like that young. Like, I used to get bullied really bad, like kindergarten through like 3rd grade, and it was like, I've just made this vow to myself. Vows are bad, y'all. Yeah. I made this vow to myself, like, I'll never be shy again, or no one can ever push me over. And that's why I'm so like in your face and stuff now. Like, I changed my whole personality just so that I won't be like that anymore. And that came with like my nonchalantness. Like, I don't care what you think. Like, you're not caring about anybody's feelings. Like, right. I don't care what you have to say. I'm not finna like pour myself out to you, because obviously, like, I just feel like people are always out to get me. Like, that's just how I always feel. So I feel like at that young age, like, even though it's something so simple, like people just bullying you, it's like, but after that changed my whole life. Perspective. Like, exactly. Like, after that, I'm this goofy extra person. And yeah, I think that's the reason. Like, it goes all the way back to that. So yeah, what about you?
Mine is more
like overall
mini story time. So my mom told me, like, when I was younger, about like 3 or 4, I didn't even know what crying was. Like, I never cried. Like, I was born into this. So it might have been a generational curse or whatever the case may be, Well, my mom also later told us that she made a vow to never cry and turn off her emotions. So I never see my mom cry until this point. And so the first time was like 3 or 4, I started crying. I was like, Mom, why is my face wet? Like, I didn't even know what tears was. Like, I didn't know what crying was, because I didn't cry until the age of 3 or 4 or something like that, you know, until I was aware enough. So mine started from a young age. Yeah. But like we said, trauma's not an excuse. Right. So that's something that I've had to work on my own, and all the way up into the point of like 6 months ago. Now my emotions are finally turned back on. And I'll give y'all a story time about that too. Is there not a good time or no? Wait a bit.
Of like how we decided to turn our emotions back on? Yeah. Okay, yeah, you can go ahead with a little story time.
Okay, so we went to this church, and we went to the altar. They did an altar call. We all went up there. And this girl just came up to me. Well, she came up to Kaylee first and started praying for her. And then she went down to me. And she just read my whole life. Like, she told me everything about myself. Stuff I barely even knew. But I was like, you right. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm sorry. But yeah, she was just breaking off the spirit of numbness, cold-heartedness, lack of emotion, all this stuff. She was going in, and I just started bursting out crying. I was crying. Well, I didn't burst out yet. I was just crying, and then she just kept going. She kept speaking to that demon or whatever. And then I finally just broke down. I have never cried like this in front of somebody before. I was like, and the whole church done seen me. Yeah, crying, and I didn't care.
They probably recorded it too.
Yeah, I was probably on their website for a little bit, but yeah, I've never cried like that in front of nobody. Like, not my mama, not nobody. I cry in my room when I'm sad, and barely that. So that was just like, that's when all my emotions started coming. Ever since that day, that was like 6 months ago.
That was only 6 months ago?
Yes. And ever since that day, I just been crying about everything. And movies, songs, little things. I'm just like, TikTok. Why am I so emotional? Like, and sometimes I hate it. I be asking God, like, dang, like, why you give me these emotions back? Like, I don't want it. Because
it's a lot.
Especially when you're talking to somebody, you just be like, why am I crying?
Really hurt.
Like, why am I crying about this? You know? Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know why my emotions are just they're just too much. I don't know.
But I'd rather have emotions any day than go back to where I was.
Right, and then I'd stop myself. I'm like, girl, you tripping. Like, and I thank God for my emotions after that. Yeah. So
yeah, I had a similar that's my little story. That same day, I don't remember everything she said, but I remember 2 things.
No, I wrote it down.
I remember 2 things. I was like, she said, you're gonna get your emotions back. She literally said that in my ear, and I was like, I told my mom, I was like, I can't wait, like, cause you know, I've been so emotionless like for a long time. Like, even I'll be like, I want to cry, but I can't cry. Yeah. So, and then she also said, like, one thing else that spoke to me. She was like, you know, you were hurt over a breakup, and you know, you're still hurt about it. And I was like, what? I was like, I was never hurt, but it'd be my pride. Like, I'm so nonchalant and don't process my feelings that I didn't even know I was hurt. Yes. That's how bad it was. So it's like, that's how prideful. Like, I was like, no man can hurt me. Like, it went that deep. So I was like, I really had to think. And I was like, was I really hurt? So then I'm like, I was. So I had to go and like just dig deep into everything. And now I'm like, Skylar, like, I'm crying over movies, songs, TikToks, like everything. But just the fact that she said that to me, I would have never known. Like, that's what I'm saying, like being vulnerable with people and just tell people what you see. Because to this day, I would have been like, I've never been hurt in my life. Right. Never.
Like, nobody can hurt me.
No one. Like, I thought I was unstoppable. But to sit there and think about it was like, man, like, I guess I was hurt. Like, I gotta take that, like, pill I gotta swallow. Like, I was hurt and I have to admit it.
And I used to say that to myself too. When I start feeling sad over a dude, I'll be like, you can't cry over this man. Like, I used to tell myself that. And so I wouldn't cry over a man. But like, when you're, like you said, you holding that stuff in, not trying to be vulnerable, and now it's creating other issues.
Or I would process my brain to think that, like, well, I didn't even want him anyways. Or I didn't even, like, I would literally process my brain away to I didn't care. So I would come up with these solutions or these things like, okay, let's say he could do something. I'm on to the next, like, and I did that. Like, it wasn't nothing like,
making them such a bad person in your head. Like, well, he didn't do this, and anyway, so why would you cry over this man? He didn't even do this. And a lot of y'all on TikTok be doing that too. What? They be like, why are you crying over a man that da 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 da? At the end of the day, that's your feelings, boo. That's how you feel.
Exactly.
Because you actually like that man enough to talk to him.
But instead, I created solutions to why that I didn't even care for the man and just moved nonchalantly. And
we have to stop acting so hard.
Yeah.
Like, as a generation.
That's what it is.
All the generations trying to act hard.
I think I'm hard body.
Right, but you're not. You're not.
A little dog.
You a little soft. You a little softy.
Ain't no hard body.
No, for real.
I'm a cry baby.
Why do we do, like, and it's pride. That's what we need to come against. Everybody that's watching this needs to come against pride right now. Pray about it. Get some deliverance. Let's all do that as a community, and maybe we'll see some change.
And see, okay, after you do get your emotions back. See what you went through that you just need to cry about, that you didn't cry about then. Like I said, I would have never knew that hurt me or anything like that. Just let out all your emotions. Don't ponder on it though. That's the problem. Don't ponder on it, but just have that moment to yourself. It's like, dang, I am hurt about family. I am hurt that that happened to me. I am hurt about this friendship heartbreak. Like I am hurt, and you could be hurt about it. Just don't ponder on it for so many days.
And also,
give it to God.
Yeah, once you give it to God and all that stuff, look around at the sensitive people in your life, like that you always thought like, oh, she's just sensitive, or oh, she's just emotional. Like those people in your life, because we all got them people that be like, oh no, they extra emotional, like friends, family, whatever the case. I feel like take a look at them too, pray for them, because you're gonna see them differently. Once you get your emotions back, you see everybody else. Or if you're in a relationship and you feel like your person is just so emotional, like take that on yourself to like pray for them or just see them differently, because we're supposed to feel some type of ways. I know I said your emotions are liars, but at the end of the day you have to recognize them first. And
control. It's all about a balance too, controlling your emotions and when to know when to have certain emotions. That's good.
So do you want to get into the dating?
I actually want to get into the friendships first. I actually did have emotions in friendships. Like okay, like I said, a man couldn't break my heart. Family family broke my heart. Right. But I trained myself after a while for them not to break my heart anymore. But when it came to those friends, I was bawling. Like I was crying. Like I feel like I gave my everything. Like I used to give my everything into friends like they were family for real. So when they would do something like shiesty or something like that, like I would be a mess. Like I would think like now I'm back to that whole the world's against me and this and that, because I I really treat them as family, or like I would give you my last. So
I think with me and friendships, I learned at a very young age that friends don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Which is not a good mindset either, but I learned at a young age. I had this best friend, and that was my best friend, but we grew apart, things happened, and after that I was just like, nobody means nothing.
I remember that.
Nothing means nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is everything. Like I was just like so over it. I was so hurt about this, and after that I just never really had a friendship. Like I never had a best friend after that, like a real one where I truly felt in my heart, like a girl best friend, where I was like, we like this, we do everything together, this is my girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it really changed everything in my life, not just my friendships. It changed the way I was in general. Like I wasn't a giving person anymore. I isolated myself. Like there's just certain characteristics about yourself when you get hurt from being vulnerable that you stop giving. And that's why we say continue to be yourself when these things happen to you. So
and for that to like navigate friendships, obviously like now that like okay we're more set apart, it's like picking your friends wisely. Because if you're picking certain friends, like I probably should have figured out things that my sister told me, like, girl, I've been knew that.
Right.
Like I knew that they were fake from the jump.
Like I've been saying it. I just wait for you to cut it off.
Right. So it's just like using your discernment and wisdom and just praying to God, like whoever's not supposed to be in my life, let them go and show their true colors in the beginning.
And being real with yourself on what type of friend you are. Because I know right now I can't have friends. I'm not a good friend to this day. Like because of the things that's happened, which is not an excuse, but I know better not to put nobody else in that predicament. I know better not to create a new friendship that I can't maintain. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I haven't created any more friendships while being a Christian or while, you know, having the mindset that I do now, because I can't maintain it. Like, I can't be a good friend right now. I have to work on me, so I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just are so selfish when it comes to giving out, like, when it comes to relationships in general. Like, you want somebody to lay up with, you want somebody to go do girl things with, you want this and that, but what type of person are you?
Be
Are you a good friend?
Yes.
Like, because stop getting in friendships when you're not a good friend.
Yeah.
Period.
Or people think like, oh, I'm like this, I want it reciprocated. Whole time you're like this in one area,
right?
Like, you know, like friendships, that is like it's kind of like it's a relationship.
It is.
It's a certain type of relationship that requires time, energy, pouring into as well. Mm-hmm. So that's why you gotta be choosing those friends wisely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I had to say on the friendship. I just had to come to that realization, like, no, I had some feelings. Like, I was
Kayla
hurt.
used to be so hurt over them friendships. I'm like,
gosh.
and I never got it, because I'm like, I don't have any friends, first of all. I'm like, why is she crying over this girl? Like,
no, because it's probably the whole time it's from that childhood trauma from kindergarten. It's like, I had no friends.
Right.
So it's like, now I'm surrounded by all these friends. Like, I always have a lot of friends. I always even gain new friends like every season. So like, when I tell you like these friends, it became attachment.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're like my friend. Like, I would do everything for you. Like,
right.
What are you doing? So yeah, it just hurts.
Yeah, I learned how to detach from that at a very young age. And the friends that I did make after that, I truly did love them too, but it was like detaching from them is okay.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need you anymore. Like, I'm not relying on you. I'm not depending on you.
Yeah.
You're just extra in my life. And I don't know if that sounds bad, but that's just what it was from that point on. But now moving forward, you know, being a Christian, I want to like have real deal friendships when I am ready to.
Okay, so Skylar Trinity wasn't vulnerable in friendships or family. Let's talk about dating.
Let's talk about.
Okay, because if it's not friendships, it's not family. What is it? What is it? Is it the dating?
I wasn't even vulnerable then.
So you really closed in if you want to talk about it.
Okay, but let's talk about different areas though. Okay. Because I was very vulnerable. Like, when it came to dating, I did give a lot to the person I was dating. You know,
yes.
I was vulnerable in a lot of areas.
Now that's hers was mine with the friendship. I looked at her crazy in the relationships.
Yes, I'm a lover girl.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. But
very
at
deeply.
The end of the day, when it came to my personal feelings, I was not vulnerable. Like, when it comes to like home issues and personal feelings, and if I'm going through, you know, some mental health stuff, I would not tell my significant other that. Like, why would I say that, you know? Mm-hmm. Or why would I put that on them? Or, you know, because I feel like growing up, when you tell somebody your feelings, well, me personally, when I tell somebody my feelings, it was never recognized, or it was just like whatever. So if I'm telling my significant other the same thing, it's like, what are they going to do for me? It's pointless. You know what I'm saying? So when it came to that, I was not vulnerable. But when it came to giving them my all and being myself and being open to love, I'm very open to love.
Yeah.
No matter how much heartbreak I went through, every time I gave it my all.
I admire that about you. That's good.
To this day.
No, yeah, for me, complete opposite.
Yeah.
Like, in the dating world, I was nonchalant, if you want to talk about from the jump. Mm-hmm. Like, I opened up in some areas, which was hard to, but not every area. Like, it was still a lot of lying going on. It was still like I said, no one knew the real me. Family, friends, like literally no one knew the real me, because I was pretending to be somebody else, or I didn't open up about anything that I was going through to anybody, because except for God, it's just me and God. Like I said, me and God against the world. So yeah, in the dating world, I just did not care. Like, and I felt, I don't want to say this to be like, this is not boastful, this is nothing to be proud about. Like, I literally, when I got closer to God in Texas, I cried for like all day, the whole day, because just how bad of a person that I was. Like, people are giving me their feelings, and I literally told them what they wanted to hear, became the girl they wanted me to be, just so I could fit. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't me, I was just fitting in their box. Mm-hmm. And just going about my day. Like, they could like think the whole date was great, but in my head I'm like, no, this wasn't it. I've apologized to many people that I have done that too. Like, that's not cool, that's not cute, that's not none of that. So, and being forward, like moving forward, I'm definitely more intentional dating. Like, even if I see somebody else that's nonchalant, like, I cut that off because I'm not trying to be nonchalant. Like, it got to the point where I remember I was dating this one dude, and mommy was like, because I thought I couldn't fall in love. Like, I thought I wasn't capable of keeping a man. So, yeah. So, basically, I was saying with the story time was that, you know, I thought I was incapable of love. I was running from love. If I felt like my feelings were getting in too deep, I would go. Or if their feelings were getting too deep, I would leave. And I would always say the same. Like, if I didn't ghost them, I would just be like, oh, I'm working on myself right now. Lots going on. You know, hit them with that. And that's how it ended up going. So yeah, when I came back like from Christ and God was working with me, I was trying to be more intentional with dating, and I felt like I'm gonna prove to myself that I could do this. And then my mom was like, girl, Kaylee, we know you can, like, just stop. Like, she was like, stop talking. He's not like, he was a great man, but he wasn't the man for me.
Right, but she continued to talk to him because she was trying to prove herself.
I was trying to prove myself, like, I could do this. Like, I could keep a man, I could do this, because I cut people off, like, in probably no more than 2 months. So, yeah.
And in my latest situation, vulnerability as a problem was me turning off my emotions to keep the peace.
Because that's not good either.
That's not good either, right? That's the opposite of what she was. But another perspective is like doing that, turning off your emotions to keep peace. Like I said before, in families too, I did it the same thing in the relationship, which is not good. It caused nothing but a weird vibe. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell y'all another story. How the devil tried to take my vulnerability and take advantage of it. So I was reading Solomon in my bed, and I wasn't gonna read it at first because it's a book of relationships, and I just didn't think it was the time. But something told me to go back and read it. So I was reading it, and I just started crying. I was getting emotional because I started thinking about one of my past relationships, and I just felt like I had messed up with this person because it was very like God-centered and stuff like that, and it was messed up over some petty stuff. And so I just started crying, and I just laid my head back and just asked God to give me patience. And I just asked him, I just said, Lord, hear my heart, because sometimes we don't have the words. And a verse to go with that is Romans 8:26, and y'all can read that on your own. But basically, God hears your heart, and that's all you have to say sometimes. You don't have to say all the words, you know? And so while I was crying, I looked down on my phone, and a different talking stage texted me. And it wasn't the good one. It was the toxic one. It was the one that you don't want to hear from, you know? Trying to check up on me and stuff like that. And I just knew that was the devil. Like, trying to make me fold. Yeah. Trying to take advantage of my vulnerability because I was so emotional at the time. Like, I could have easily texted back and went back into the past, you know? And one of the devil's tactics is to bring up your past to keep you stuck, or, you know, just have you wasting time. Just have you stuck on what was behind you. Like, don't look back. Don't turn into that pillar of salt, you know? Because I have. And let me tell y'all, it's not nothing sweet. It's not good. So, yeah, that's my little story. And another, another verse to go with that is Ecclesiastes 7:10. Don't long for the good old days. This is not wise. So y'all being foolish by doing that. Yeah. But yeah.
And just to go off there, like, even from the beginning, like, no, we're not perfect. Like, you're going to mess up in relationships. Like, you're going to mess up in life in general. So it's like, you know, you even crying about it, like, oh, you messed up. Like, if it's God ordained, like, it'll come back. Because, like, we're not perfect. We can't be perfect in every little thing, like, you thought was right in that time. Right. And, you know, that's just what it was. So it's like, if it's God sent, like, you just got to trust, like, it'll come back. Or even maybe that had to happen, you know. And, like, we just never know. Yeah. We never know when it comes to God and why things happen the way they do. So we can't, like, beat ourselves up about it. Well, but we can be better, continue, like, to go forward.
And most of all, just pray that his will be done, y'all, no matter whatever the situation is. Yeah. Just ask that his will be done no matter what happened in the situations and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, I was just in my feelings, feeling my emotions and stuff like that. And
yeah, like you said, it's so easy to go, like, the devil knows when we're down bad, because it could be the funniest moments. It's like, how, like, what a coincidence. Like, these people texting me, calling me, and I'm down bad. Like, not even down bad, but like, you could be bored, you could be lonely, and they just come back. But that could be a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day.
That's a whole nother subject. Let us know if you want to hear more about that, because we got it.
Yeah, but no, yeah, that's just interesting. Like, that whole story you had, like, that.
Man, that shocked me so bad. I'm like, are you for real? I'm like, he ain't never tried to do that. Like, yeah. It was so random. Yeah. But
okay, so my takeaway questions that I have to end this off, y'all. This is probably a long video.
Yeah, we know it's long.
Okay, so what emotion do you need to work on or improve?
What are the emotions?
It's like all of them. Like, you wanted me to say mine first?
Yeah, like, give me an example of the emotions.
Okay, so I mean, it could be
like, I know there's anger.
There's sad, you know the movie. There's sad. There's joy. There's
I need to work on my joy.
Joy.
Yes, I'm not a joyful person. Like, I'm so like meh. Like, y'all ever seen the Emoji Movie? I feel like I'm meh. I'm not very joyful. Like, even when I receive great things, it's hard for me to show those good emotions too, because like I said, I've turned off those other emotions for so long. The other emotions stop working too, you know? Mm-hmm. So just being happy and showing my happiness, you know? Yeah. Because sometimes we think peace is just happiness, but it's really in everything. There's more to it. Yeah. I feel like I haven't experienced the full joy yet. I want to experience the full joy of the Lord. So that's something I have to work on. Yeah. And because the joy of the Lord is your strength. That's a verse 2. Mm-hmm. By memory. So. Okay. Yes. That's something I want to work on.
Yeah. For me, it's, I have to go with love and empathy. Like, so, you know, love, like, yes, I love the people around me. Just loving on strangers, loving on everybody in this world, like, and being empathetic. Like, yes, I have empathy when it comes to, like, the major stuff you have empathy for. But no, like, I need to have empathy for, like, let's just say if I'm even talking to somebody and I don't know why they're acting a certain way and they're not even vulnerable enough to tell me, but I still have empathy for you, or I'm not moving a certain way because of that. Like, I'm like, okay, they're mad. I don't know what they're going through. They didn't explain that to me. So I just still need to have empathy for them. Or like somebody can be even rude or cruel to you. I still want to have empathy for you because I don't know what's going behind closed doors. A lot of people are fighting demons. A lot of people are going through stuff that you have no idea. So I just want to be loving and empathetic towards everybody.
That's a really good one. Yeah. And that's a really one that people don't think about often. Like, that's rare to be empathetic and show love no matter what. We've talked about that throughout this video, actually. I feel like that's a main topic to take away for everybody. Yeah. That's a really good one. I feel like I gotta work on that too.
Oh yeah, it's major. And what is one that you want to get rid of? Yeah, it's bad emotion, so I can say get rid of.
No, there is. Yeah. Or balance out, whatever you want to call it. Balancing my quietness and my peace. You know, speaking up on certain things, speaking up to certain people and certain topics, because that is a form of love. Speaking up is a form of love, and that is something that I often don't do, because to try to keep my peace, being selfish with emotion and, you know, my peace. So speaking up in love to other people, to keep long-term peace, not just temporary selfish peace.
Yeah, I think for me, you know, off of this is obviously it's like pride, but like even this conversation that we're having, like, you realize the stuff about yourself. So it's like, yes, I think like I'm over a lot of things, but I feel like that is a little bit there that I need to like deal with. So I would say pride for sure.
That's a good one too.
No, yeah, that's a good one.